Now we're going to tackle a pretty important topic, the time for trades. Many people don't understand what it is. Difference. The same 1 minute, 3 minutes, and 5 minutes, and they don't understand what time to choose for themselves. In this video, I will go into more detail under each time, which is best to work with BoosterBot for you. Well, by the way, I will share information from our managers who work directly with our students, with our traders, and they collected some pretty interesting statistics for me. So, get comfortable, and let's get started. Alright, let's start with the most interesting part, the safest time for trades. Many people are curious about what the safest time is. Some say 10 minutes, others say 1 minute, but they're way off. We have some statistics. For a moment, let's open our Telegram channel, and there are 13,000 people here. Right now, there are about 21,000 users in BoosterBot. So we know the best time and can see all the statistics. So, here's the thing. The best statistics, surprisingly, are for 3-minute trades. Let's choose this time, open a deal and talk about what's good about this. This is the best time. Let's take a look at an example of a 3-minute trade and also break down why this is the safest time for trading. I'm selecting the currency pair, British pound to dollar, choosing a 3-minute trade, then heading over to the bots, picking the same currency pair, and carefully selecting 3 minutes. I'm getting a buy signal. Great, I'm opening my buy trade for 3 minutes right from here. If we break down this trade, we can see there's a really good upward movement here. The price hit a certain level, got a small bounce, and from that bounce, it's ready to move up. So, my trade is considered safe. But why exactly 3 minutes for a trade? The safest time. If we look at the graph, we won't see much here, but we have a volume factor, and they can be large and small ones. On small volumes, we must trade for a fairly long time. For example, 5 minutes, and on small volumes, or rather, on large volumes, we should trade for 1 minute. This is, for example, because even in the movement itself you can see the difference in small volumes. We have a price that barely moves on large volumes. We have a good movement with a large amplitude, and we have medium volumes, and then we should trade for 3 minutes. But 3 minutes is ideal, both for high volatility and for low, when we have no volumes and when we have large volumes. 3 minutes shows itself to be excellent in any situation, and this is confirmed by statistics. Why? With this time we can work on both large and small volumes. I will show you further. Using the example of 1 minute and 5 minutes, since they have their own shortcomings that spoil the impression a little. They are 1 minute, for example, we can make a mistake with the entry point, and this happens more than once when you open. For example, with a buy trade, the price closes against you by just 1 point at the last moment. It's really frustrating when that happens on a 5-minute trade. And the same thing can happen even if your analysis was spot on. There was a really big volume that came out, and you realize that the analysis you did for 5 minutes has already played out. The price hit a strong level, got a bounce, and as a result, in 2 minutes, your analysis played out, and in just 3 minutes, the price went completely against you. Unfortunately, that happens, and you have to accept it. That's why 3 minutes is the most optimal and safest way to trade with the trend. Yeah, you can also trade for bounces and other price and indicator intersections on 3-minute trades. We'll talk more about this later, but if you just look at the raw statistics from the BoosterBot, the safest time is actually 3 minutes. First of all, you have an entry point to think about. You don't need to rush anywhere. You calmly choose a currency pair, open your trade on it, and just sit back and wait for the result. As you can see, this trade is bringing me almost $1,400. Not a bad result. And let's go for the next trade for $2,250. Let's open a trade for just 1 minute and talk more specifically about this time frame. If you want to learn more information, get more promo codes, and just have more opportunities to earn, then subscribe to our Telegram channel. First of all, we have a league membership where people get in and receive free signals almost every day. Secondly, in our community, we have managers. Yeah, these are people who get assigned to a trader and start teaching you. You can ask them for advice, request a ready-made strategy, or just ask a question about psychology. In general, in our community, you'll find your trading style. So definitely join our Telegram channel and start earning together with the BoosterBot team. And now we move on to 1-minute trades. Now, the time for trades is set to 1 minute. This is a pretty quick time, and to have the best entry points, we need to set 5-second candles. Let me show you everything right now. I'm selecting the currency pair in BoosterBot, which is Euro to US dollar, and I'm choosing a trade time of 1 minute. I get a sell signal, I wait for a new 5-second candle, and I open a sell trade on it. To see when a particular candle opens, you need to go to the chart settings and click on Show Timer. After that, you'll be able to work with the new 5-second candles, and, accordingly, this will be the best entry point. Why am I even talking about this? Since I've gathered information from our managers, and they all share the same information. What about 1 minute? The most common mistake people make is choosing the wrong entry point. The wrong entry point. It could lead you to have the right analysis, the right signal from BoosterBot, but just a few points off in the wrong direction and you could end up closing your trade. This trade brings me a solid profit of $1,400, and when you have the wrong entry point, you'll end up with a lot of signals opening incorrectly. You need to understand that the BoosterBot is a machine designed to provide signals and analyze charts. But you still have to choose the currency pair, the timing, and most importantly, the entry point. Again, let's remember this schematic. On the 1 minute chart, we trade with large volumes. I advise you to choose the trading. Do you open the currency pair and see where the volumes are now? For example, where there are small volumes, it is better to trade for 5 minutes or 3 minutes. If the volumes are large enough, then you can confidently trade on 1 minute or even on those same 3 minutes. Yeah, the BoosterBot will still do the analysis. Even if there are no volumes, you just have a higher chance that the currency pair will stall. In the same spot, your trade will close at 0 or in the negative point. So always choose the right currency pairs with the right volume again. If you don't understand how to do this, then write our managers a link. I will leave in the description how to choose the time for a transaction. For what volume? You just send a screenshot of the volume and ask what time is best to open a trade. This will really kickstart your trading along with the BoosterBot on the 1 minute chart. The most important thing to know is to trade with large volumes and open trades at the best entry points. For this, you need to select 5-second candles and click to show the timer. And the most interesting part is the 5-minute trade time for the lazy. For that, I can actually set 30-second candles so nothing gets in my way. And then I'm sure. You also need to choose a currency pair right now that doesn't have really high volumes. Australian Canadian dollar. The volumes here aren't as big compared to all the other currency pairs. So let's try to open a trade on this currency pair for 5 minutes. I'm choosing this currency pair, and I want to open this trade for $2,750. I'm switching to the BoosterBot, getting a new signal, choosing the Australian and Canadian dollar, and setting the trade time to 5 minutes. And now let's talk in more detail about 5-minute trades. I'm getting a buy signal, and right from here, I'm opening a buy trade for 5 minutes. When I open my 5-minute trade, I can go about my business. I can watch some podcasts, play some games, just do my own thing. Well, or even driving somewhere. So I'm not tied to the chart. I don't need the best entry points. If I open my trade somewhere here or here, the price will still be very far in 5 minutes. Sounds good, but as I said, always pay close attention to the volumes. What volumes are you working with? If you enter with very large volumes, then you have your analysis. It will work out very quickly. For example, what does that even look like? So let's take a look at this empty space on the chart, where the price should come to. If we had very small volumes at that moment, it would take us a long time to get there. And for 5 minutes, that's the perfect scenario. Just open a trade to go up and forget that you have it open. Just come back for the profit later. But when we have a situation where the volumes are high, for example, you got a signal 4. The BoosterBot analyzes where the price should go, but what will the price do next at this moment? We need new data at this point, especially when the price approaches these levels. For example, only 2 minutes have passed. The price went here, and you opened a trade somewhere in that range. The price reacted and started to go down. The most important thing is that your analysis worked, but you chose the wrong time for the deal. And accordingly, for 2 minutes your price went up, and for 3 minutes it went down, and your analysis worked out in just 2 minutes instead of 5. So always be careful and look at the volumes. If you don't know how to do this, then it's simple. Write to our managers in our support account and ask about those volumes. The guys there will help you out and explain in more detail how to set it up correctly. And why did I call this time for the lazy? First of all, you don't have a concept like an entry point. You just need to open your trade in the chosen direction. Or 5-minute next step. As I said, you really don't have to monitor this trade at all. You just opened it and went about your business. And the most important thing is that you can do it even from your phone. If we are at 1 minute or 3 minutes, we are dependent on the speed from receiving the signal to opening that trade. So on the 5-minute chart, you can get the signal on your phone, minimize Telegram, switch to your broker, and then open the trade. It takes about 5 to 10 seconds. It's not that long, but believe me, sometimes it decides very strongly. And as you can see, now I have received a signal to buy. I have fairly large volumes. They are not small on this currency pair anyway. I received a signal to buy. We just reached this very level. If we look in more detail, let's remove all this. Then we just reached about half of the 0.5 range, and got a rebound from there. Right now, there's a very high chance that the price is going to drop from this point, and honestly, I should have opened with even smaller volumes. As you can see, at this moment, on these candles, our volume increased, and now my trade is shifting from safe to relatively risky. That's exactly why 3 minutes is the safest way to trade. A great trade brings me $2,500, and as you can see, if you pick the right combination of volume and time for your trade, the booster bot can give you up to 90% winning trades. But if you don't follow these rules, if you don't pay attention to the volumes and the currency pairs you're choosing, then you're looking at a success rate of about 60 to 70%. But what our managers tell me literally after a week of work, when a trader gets used to the fact that it is necessary to choose currency pairs, it is necessary to look at their movement, and depending on what time frame you're trading, the trader's success rate goes up to 80%, and for some, even up to 86% winning trades. By the way, that's something I forgot to mention. At the beginning, the statistics for 3-minute trades are 87% winning trade. The second point is 1 minute, 85% winning trades. And in last place, we have the 5-minute trades with a result of 80% winning trades. That's if we're looking at the overall statistics. To learn more, just message our managers. And just a reminder, BoosterBot is available to you right now through the link in the description. You just switch over and activate this bot. Next, he will give you all the instructions. You don't need to download anything. All the activation happens in Telegram. If you have any questions, just message the support account. That's all I have for today. I wish you huge profits, success, and see you soon.